Welcome to Leadership Roll Call, where we give you tips, suggestions, and recommendations on how you can become a more effective leader. I'm your host, Michael Finley. Our topic today is part 2 of a 4-part series on how to successfully give an executive presentation. As a leader, we're occasionally asked to give a presentation. How well we do on this presentation can hurt or help our career, so we need to be prepared for it. So let's get started. Previously, we talked about how to prepare for a presentation. This episode, we're going to talk about the content of our presentation. We need to establish what the content is before we begin to design the presentation. The first thing we need to do is to clarify our objective. What is it that we're trying to do? Are we trying to persuade, sell, make a decision? So we need to clarify what that objective is. Common presentation objectives are to educate and to inform, to sell, to arrive at a decision, to solve a problem, and to persuade. Once you clarify what your objective is, then you begin to build out your presentation. And you do this by creating an outline. Now, the outline does not have to be elaborate. It can be quite simple. But we need this structure to make sure that we are accurately portraying what it is we're trying to do. You want to think of it like a lawyer building their case. You don't start off with all your evidence right at the beginning. You build upon your case and what you're trying to do. So you need to create this outline. We start off our outline with our introduction. Now, this is not the time to tell a lame joke or an icebreaker or make apologies or anything like that one. This is the one time that we have to establish our credibility right off the bat, and we need to come out strong. And you do this by simply saying, "Hello, my name is X. I'm director of X department. I'm here today to talk to you about X." You don't have to be elaborate or anything, but you get right to the point. After you introduce yourself and establish your credibility, now you want to grab their attention. And this is known as the hook. How can you grab their attention to make sure that they're going to listen to you? Well, there's a number of ways. The first way to grab their attention is to tell a relatable story. Now, this story could be about a challenge that you had or how you overcame this challenge. Make sure your story is germane to the topic. This story doesn't have to be long. It could be 60 to 90 seconds, but you want to make it specific to the topic and you want to use it to grab their attention. Another way to grab their attention is to ask a rhetorical question. Now, this could be something like, what if we could increase sales by 10%? Well, any senior executive I know would like to hear what you have to say. So you ask a rhetorical question. Another way to grab their attention is to state a shocking statistic. It could be 9 out of 10 people do this. I know one statistic that I roll out when I talk about leadership development is studies show that 60% of employees leave their jobs because of a bad boss. Now, it's a pretty shocking statistic if we were talking about leadership development. So state that shocking statistic to grab their attention. Some other ways to grab their attention is to use a quote related to the topic, to show an image that's related to the topic, or maybe a short video that's related to the topic. You don't want to spend a lot of time on this, but it's crucial that you grab their attention and make sure it's not a mundane presentation that they've sat through millions of times. You want to grab their attention right off the bat. Next, and I've said this before, you want to get to the point. Too many presentations out there try to build and build and build and build and try to have the big reveal at the end. If you have a presentation like that, I guarantee you're going to get interrupted before you get 5 minutes in your presentation. The most valuable asset that a senior executive has is their time, and they don't want you to waste it. So when you're outlining your presentation, you want to get to the point as soon as you can. What is it that you're trying to do? What is this objective? Are you trying to persuade them? Are you trying to sell them? Whatever it is, get to the point early. The next part of your outline is you want to have your supporting materials. Now, this is your data or your graphs or your charts or anything that you have that supports your argument of what you're trying to do. Now, you want to make sure you don't overwhelm them with too much data. So this is where the supporting material comes in. And the next part is the conclusion. And this is where you reemphasize what it is you're trying to do and outline an action plan of how you think we need to get there. So that's it. Introduction, support material, and conclusion. When you're outlining your presentation, you need to ask yourself, is this germane to the topic? Is this important? Is this necessary? You don't want to have too much fluff in your presentation. If you've already made your point using data, there's no reason to use it again. So you want to look at your presentation to make sure that it's clear and concise. Simple does not mean stupid. Simple is good. I've seen great presentations that are only 10 slides or less. So you want to make it simple, and you do that by removing whatever fluff that you have. Remember, the higher level your audience is, the less time that they're going to have. So you need to get to the point and make sure your presentation is clear and concise. And you do this by creating your outline before you begin the design. So I hope this was beneficial to you. Join us next time for part 3 of our 4-part episode where we talk about design. I'll see you then.